I've turned a lot of consoles into different consoles. If you don't know what that means, it means I've played Nintendo Switch games on my Wii U, Nintendo Switch 2 games on my Nintendo Switch, and even Nintendo Switch 2 games on my 3DS. No hardware modifications were done to make this possible. I'm not that smart. But today, we're going to take a look at every Nintendo console I've turned into a different console. So sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy. It all started with a silly idea I got one day. What if I turned my 3DS into a DS? In this video, I made a custom theme on my 3DS that looked like the DS home menu, replaced the 3DS menu sound effects with DS ones, and found an app that let you install DS games directly to the home screen. It was pretty cool, but it wasn't really anything special, just a fun idea. So I knew the next time I did a video similar to that, I wanted it to be even better. And that's what led to the creation of I turned my 3DS into a real gaming console.
This is my 3DS, and today I'm going to turn it into a fully fledged gaming console. And in order to achieve this, there's a lot of work we have to get done. So let's get started. First off, we're gonna need a TV. I don't think this one will work. Next, we'll need a way to connect my 3DS to the TV. And finally, it wouldn't be a real console if I couldn't use my game controller with it, so we're going to need to find a way to make that possible. Now, how am I going to connect my 3DS to a TV? Well, let's backtrack a little bit. There's a custom hardware mod people do that adds a USB port to their 3DS, which allows them to connect it to a computer and record gameplay with OBS. This is the best way to capture 3DS gameplay with the lowest latency, but of course requires soldering skills. And the closest thing to a soldering iron I have is this knife I left on the stove for 5 hours. Surely it works. Luckily, there's a way to do this without needing a hardware mod. Keep in mind, this requires your 3DS to be running Luma 3DS version 13 or higher, but if you are, you can download a computer app called SnickerStream. SnickerStream lets you stream your 3DS to your computer over the internet, so no janky soldering required. To set this up, I of course needed SnickerStream, but also another app called BootNTR.
Quick reminder, you should totally leave a like if you're enjoying the video so far. It really does help a lot.
So I downloaded bootntr.caa from this GitHub, dragged it to the CIA's folder on the root of my SD card, opened FBI, and installed it. Because this streams your 3DS over the internet, I also needed my 3DS's IP address, so I got this by going back into FBI and clicking remote install. Oh my gosh, guys, don't hack me. I then went over to the SnickerStream GitHub, downloaded the 64-bit, extracted the zip, and opened snickerstream.exe. Guys, by the way, where it says IP is where you need to type in your 3DS's IP address. I'm so smart. Now that we got SnickerStream set up, if I click connect, I should see my 3DS appear on my PC.
All right, moment of truth. Let's click connect. I don't think it's supposed to just be a black screen.
Oh, you know what? I might have forgot to open NTR boot. Now let's try that again. Yeah, it worked. Now that I have a way to get my 3DS to output to my computer, all I need to do is connect my laptop to my TV with an HDMI port. And look at that, there just so happens to be a TV right here.
Yo, this is so cool. I can't believe the 3DS is on a TV right now. That's crazy.
So now we're almost done, but there's one thing missing. I need to find a way to be able to use my controller. I tried connecting it to my laptop, but that didn't work. I tried connecting it to my TV. That didn't work either. And I even tried using a USB to headphone jack port converter to plug it into my 3DS. And that worked! Download input redirection from this GitHub, extract the files, open the exe, type in your 3DS's IP address, open Rosalina menu by holding down on the D-pad, pressing select and L at the same time, go to miscellaneous options and click enable input redirection, connect your controller to your computer, and boom, you can now use your controller to control your 3DS. The Nintendo Switch 2. This is definitely what it's going to look like when it comes out. Take my word for it. Nintendo sent me this early. Anyways, that TV I had set up was a bit too big to get on video, so I switched to a monitor, but here it is, and we're gonna see what the gameplay is like. And there we have it. Mario Kart 7 is loaded up. Here we go. 3, 2. Did I do that too early? Oh, why? I'm selling for the video. This is so cool. I can't believe I'm playing the 3DS on my TV. Kind of. I know it's my monitor, but it still counts. Why am I in 6th place against CPUs? What am I doing? Okay, no. Just give me some time. Give me some time. I promise I'll come back. Watch this. Wait, is the race almost over? No, it's not almost over. Okay, I got this. The comeback is happening. Trust me. I was supposed to get an item there. I got absolutely nothing. It looks like we might be getting second place. Never mind, we're getting third place. I don't want to talk about it. You see, there's like this big delay when I play on the TV instead of just the normal 3DS. This is actually pretty cool though. There's honestly no delay. I know the screen frame rate isn't as good if I was just looking at the 3DS. It looks a little worse because, you know, it's being upscaled. It's bigger than what it normally is, but the quality isn't increasing, so it looks slightly worse. But again, no latency, so it's pretty cool.
Top 10 stupidest titles of all time. After having a blast making that video and seeing you guys liked it too, I knew I had to try something even cooler. And that's how I came up with turning my Nintendo Switch into a phone.
This is my Nintendo Switch, and this is my phone. Yeah, I don't know what happened to it, but that's why today I'm going to do everything I can to turn my Switch into a working phone. Starting off, let's define what makes a Switch a working phone. A phone should be able to be held in portrait mode, download apps from the Google Play or App Store, run Discord, yes, this is a requirement, and the most important part, be able to make phone calls. With that said, let's address the elephant in the room. If you came here expecting me to install iOS on my Switch, I'll give you some time to click off the video. What I'm actually doing is installing Android on my Switch, and if I can successfully do this, then checking everything off the list will be super easy. So let's get started. I'll be installing Android 11 as that's currently the highest version the Switch supports. To do this, my Switch needs to be running Atmosphere custom firmware and Hecate version 6.03 or higher. I attached my RCM jig, launched the Hecate payload through Tegra RCM, and was inside Hecate. I then went to NIC settings and dumped my Joy-Cons, which is required for using them in Android. To set up Android, I had to partition my SD card, which wipes everything from it, so if you have something you don't want to lose, such as your emunan, make sure to create a backup of it and restore it after you set up Android. To make an emunan backup, I went to Tools, pressed Backup eMMC, and made a backup of eMMC boot 0 and boot 1, and eMMC raw GPP. After that was done, I turned off my Switch, put my SD card into my PC, and dragged the backup to a safe place. You can delete the backup files from your SD card now just to free up some space. I'm not going to restore my emunan in this video, but I linked a tutorial in the description if you're interested. Now let's get back to the fun stuff. Inside Hecate, I went to Tools, pressed Partition SD card, and allocated 32 gigabytes for my emunan and 16 for Android. This is the recommended amount for Android, and because I'm not going to install a bunch of apps, that's what I went with. After that, I clicked SDUMS so my Switch's SD card would show up on my PC, and dragged everything from the downloaded Android folder onto the root of my SD card, then ejected my Switch. I then pressed Flash Android and continue. And once I press continue again, we should be booted into Android. Continue. Wait, this isn't Android. Well, looks like I'm a liar. But anyways, I pressed format data / factory reset. Oh no! And I also formatted the partition we created for Android. After that was done, I pressed back, pressed apply update, chose Switch SD, and selected lineage, which is the version of Android my Switch will be running. While we wait for this to install, make sure to subscribe because I'm doing a helicopter giveaway at 100K. Comment down below to enter. Now that that's done, if I go back and click reboot system, we should actually boot into Android this time.
Oh no!
Now that I had Android up and running on my Switch, it was time to start turning it into a phone. Looking back at the list we made, my Switch, actually, let's call it my phone, needed to be able to be held in portrait mode. But let's come back to that one later. The next thing it needed was being able to download apps from the Google Play Store. Well, do you see that little icon in the bottom right? Let's open this up and try downloading the best game known to mankind.
Yes, it worked.
Oh. I also downloaded Subway Surfers to make sure I could use apps in portrait mode. I totally didn't want to play this. Now that I had those checked off the list, it was time to see if my phone could run Discord. To test this, I downloaded Discord from the Google Play Store, signed into my account, and gave my friend a call.
All right, guys, so we have Discord pulled up, and because the Switch doesn't have a mic, I have my headset over here, so hopefully it's gonna be loud enough that you can hear the audio if this actually does work, but let's give him a call. Hey there.
Hello?
I want you to just take a random guess. What do you think I'm calling you on right now?
Are you calling me on your DS?
Ooh, not quite, not quite. One more guess.
I don't know.
Don't worry, you'll find out tomorrow. Bye, treacherous Trent.
So I was able to use my Nintendo Switch in portrait mode, download apps from the Google Play Store, and even use Discord. But now it was time for the most important test. Would I be able to make a phone call on my phone? No, that doesn't count. My actual idea for making a phone call was to download an app that lets you use a temporary phone number. This way, I could try calling my real phone, which magically repaired itself, and see if it worked. I downloaded 2 different phone number apps, but unfortunately, both of them said they were unsupported on my device, which was due to the Switch not being a certified Android device. Luckily, Google's own phone number app called Google Voice worked perfectly fine, and I was able to make an account. So now it was time to see if I could call myself.
Here we go. In the top right, I'm gonna click the call button and let's see if anything shows up. It just disappeared. Let's try it again. Let's try it again.
Oh no!
Alright, looks like we will not be calling anyone today.
I really wanted to be able to make phone calls on my Switch just because it would be funny, so it was a bit upsetting that it didn't work. But I still hope you enjoyed watching me turn my Nintendo Switch into a phone, and if you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more modding content.
That is currently the most popular video on my channel, unfortunately. But now it was time to go back to turning Nintendo consoles into other Nintendo consoles. And the next one I did was turning my 3DS into a Nintendo Switch.
Last video, I used my 3DS as a controller to play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but there was one major flaw. I couldn't see my Switch screen on my 3DS, so even though I won a race, did it really count? Yes, it counted. But please say it counted. But today, I'm going to find a way to use my 3DS to control my Switch and be able to see my Switch screen on my 3DS. So let's get started. My plan was to use a Homebrew app called Moonlight to stream my PC to my 3DS and use OBS to view my Switch screen through my capture card. Doing this would be easy, but the thing that got me stumped was how I would be able to control my Switch while using Moonlight. I had a guess of what I could do, but before we get into that, let's get the streaming part working. For this, you will need Moonlight. I'll show you how to get it using Universal Updater, Sunshine, OBS, a capture card with a low preview delay. The capture card I'm using is the Elgato HD60X, but any USB 3.0 capture card should be good enough. A micro SD card reader, and a 3DS running Luma custom firmware. Everything needed is linked in the description. The first app we'll set up is Sunshine, which is what allows your computer to send a video stream to your 3DS. So download Sunshine from the linked GitHub and install it. Before we set it up, we're now going to get Moonlight on our 3DS, which is what will allow our 3DS to view the video stream our PC is sending. I recommend using Universal Updater as it makes installing Homebrew apps on your 3DS much quicker. So to get it, download the Universal Updater from their website, put your SD card inside your computer, and drag it to your CIAs folder. If you don't have a CIAs folder, you can just make one. After that, put your SD card back in your 3DS, open FBI, go to the CIAs folder, and choose install and delete. Now you can press B twice and click start to close out of FBI. So now inside Universal Updater, you want to click this search button and then search for Moonlight. And then we're going to click OK, and then hopefully Moonlight shows up. All right, there it is. So now you just click A, and then click A again to install the Moonlight CIA. And now you see it loading there, so you just have to wait for it to show on screen that it completes. All right, there we go. Moonlight CIA succeeded. So now that that's done, you can click the home button, and now you're gonna see that a new software appeared. All right, so let's open this up, and now you have Moonlight installed. Now that Moonlight is installed, let's go back to Sunshine and configure it. So now we're just gonna search for Sunshine on your computer, open it, and it should open this web page. If you get an alert saying your connection is not private, just proceed to site anyways and hope you don't get hacked. I don't know. And now at the website, it's going to ask you to create a password, so just type in anything. I'm gonna type in subscribe and join my Discord server because it's linked in the description. And after you do that, it's gonna reload the website, so now you just have to log in with the information. If you didn't change your username, the username by default is Sunshine, and then just type in whatever password you did. And now we are inside of Sunshine. So there's only one thing in here that we have to set up, so all you have to do is go to the configuration tab, go to network, and then enable UPnP so you don't have to set up port forwarding by yourself. And after you do that, go all the way down, click save, and then click apply. It's gonna ask you to reopen Sunshine, so just do that, and now you're back inside of it. And if you go into the applications tab, you'll see by default it has desktop and Steam Big Picture open. If you use Steam Big Picture, it will allow you to play all your Steam games using your controller. So if you have Moonlight on your 3DS, have it on your Switch, your Wii U, or whatever, you'll be able to play Steam games on there. But we're gonna be using the desktop option for this video, so just make sure you keep both of these. Before you go back to your 3DS, open CMD and type in ipconfig to get your computer's IP address, because we'll need to type it in Moonlight. Okay, now it's 3DS time. So now we're going to open Moonlight, and I already have mine set up, but let's pretend that I don't. So what you'll see is an option that says new, so you want to use the D-pad to go down to that, and then click A, and then you're going to type in your computer's IP address, which you saw when you typed in ipconfig. So then after you do that, you'll see it as an available IP to connect to, so you're going to click A on it, and then it's going to connect to it. I accidentally clicked it too early, but you're going to see pair, so you're going to want to click A to pair it, and then you'll see that it says please enter the following pin on the target PC. So what you want to do is open Sunshine again. You can just go to show hidden icons, and you'll see that Sunshine is here. So just right click it and then click open Sunshine, and then it'll open the web host again. And then inside here, you want to click pin, and then this is where you're going to type in the pin that's on your 3DS. So now I can click send, and then back on your 3DS, it's going to say that it failed to pair, but you know, you could just ignore that. On your 3DS, it's going to say that it successfully paired, and then go back to this screen. So then now here you can click the IP again. And one thing you want to change, because we'll be using this to control our Switch, is go to stream settings and then go down to where it says swap face button. So because we're emulated an Xbox controller, it has the A, B, XY switched, it'll make it so A on our 3DS functions as A on an Xbox controller so that you don't have to click B. So go down to that, swap face buttons, make sure it's set to true, and then you can back out of that and then click stream. And then once I click desktop, we should be able to see our PC screen on our 3DS. So let's see if this works. Please work. Please work. It's connected. You know you want to work. Come on, just work. You know you want to. Connected, and there we go. So now that we have our PC screen able to show up on our 3DS, all we have to do is find a way to have our Switch show up on our 3DS and be able to control it. To do this, I needed SysHid Plus client, X360 CE, VDX, a Nintendo Switch running Atmosphere custom firmware, and VGM bus. So with everything installed, you want to extract the X360 CE folder, and then inside the extracted folder, you want to open it. And when you first open it, it's going to say that this wasn't found, so you just want to click create. And now that you're inside here, you can close out of that, and then the vdx.exe you want to drag inside the X360 CE folder. And if you get this error when you try to open VDX, make sure to drag in the VGM client DLL that I have linked in the description into this folder, and then when you try to open it, it should work. So there we go, we have it open. And now that you know that works, you can close out of that, and then you want to extract the SysHid Plus client folder that we downloaded, and then open this extracted folder, and then you want to run the SysHid client beta exe, and it says Windows protected. I guess it's a virus, guys. All right, just be careful. And now with this open, we're going to type in our Switch's IP there. Speaking of Switch, let's actually go to our Nintendo Switch. So on your Switch, you want to go down to settings, and then go to internet settings, and then go to where it says IP address, and that's the IP that you're going to be typing into SysHid Plus. While we're on our Switch, you want to go to the Homebrew App Store, which is inside Album, and then Homebrew App Store, and you want to search for SysHid Plus. We have the client version on our computer, but then we also need a version that runs on our Switch. So I already have it installed, but all you have to do is go to search, and then search for sys, and then you'll see it pop up somewhere, and then you can click Y to toggle the keyboard, and then you're just going to click SysHid Plus and then A to install it. So SysHid Plus will always be on by default. So SysHid Plus will always be on by default, but I have a video tutorial in my Discord server on how to toggle it on and off if you're interested in doing that. So with Moonlight open on your 3DS and stream in your desktop, next what you want to do is go back into this X360 CE folder we extracted, and then you want to open the X360 EXE, and then if you see this pop up, all you have to do is click next, wait for it to search for the right controller settings, and then click finish. And if your controller is set up correctly, you should see that it's green here instead of red. And then next you want to go to game settings and make sure that vdx.exe is an available option. If it's not, then just make sure you have vdx.exe inside this folder. And now that we know that's working, we can open vdx.exe, and then you'll see that it says player 1. So now all we have to do is click connect, and then it's going to create a second controller option for us. This is the controller that we're going to be using to control our Switch. So you want to click next and then click finish. And now with that working, what we can do is open SysHid Plus, and I'm going to put my OBS window here so you can see a preview of my Switch. So we're going to go down to here, and when we click connect to Switch, in the bottom left, you should see a little icon indicating that you have a new controller connected. So let's click connect to Switch, and now you see the Pro controller icon is there. And if I move some buttons on my 3DS, it should be able to control my Switch. So let's do this. We'll do a little side by side, and let's test it out. And look at that, we are using my 3DS to control my Switch. And now the last part to officially have my Switch show up on my 3DS is just to right click your OBS preview, go to full screen projector view, and then select whichever monitor you're streaming to your 3DS. So it's this one in my case. And now if we go down to my 3DS, you see that my Switch is here. We're gonna move my mouse out the way, but now you see that we have the Switch showing up on my 3DS, and we are able to control it with little to no delay. So now we're gonna hop into a game of Mario Kart and see how this goes. Instead of looking at a monitor, I'm going to be looking at my 3DS screen this time.
If I could turn my 3DS into a Switch, surely I could do the same for my Wii U.
So I was playing Yoshi's Woolly World on my Wii U the other day and noticed that I really like how the gamepad feels compared to using Switch Joy-Cons in handheld mode. If only there were a way I could control my Switch with the gamepad. Well, you read the video title. So today, I'm going to turn my Wii U into a Nintendo Switch. Will this make playing games in handheld mode a better experience? I don't know, but let's get started. Starting off, let's explain what I mean by turning my Wii U into a Switch. I'm not smart enough to replace the gamepad screen with a Switch, so we're gonna use Homebrew apps instead. I'll be using Moonlight, Sunshine, and all these other things to make this possible. Moonlight is a Homebrew app that streams your PC to your Wii U, and Sunshine is a computer app that allows your Wii U to view and control your PC through Moonlight. But how will I see my Switch screen? That's where my capture card comes in. I have an Elgato HD60X capture card, which is known for its low preview delay, meaning that when it's connected to OBS, the inputs I make on my controller show up in OBS in less than 30 milliseconds, which isn't noticeable in casual games like Mario Kart. So if I stream my my PC to my Wii U with OBS open, it should show my Switch screen. But before we test that, we gotta set up Moonlight and Sunshine. To get Moonlight, you will need a Wii U running Aroma custom firmware. With that, you can open the Homebrew app store, search for Moonlight, and install it. Keep in mind, you can only change the Moonlight settings on your computer, so if you're planning to do this, make sure you have a way to access your Wii U's SD card. To get Sunshine, I went to their GitHub, linked in the description, ran the exe, then opened Sunshine. When you open it, it will take you to a website where you can configure everything. The only thing I did was go to network options and enabled UPnP so I didn't have to set up port forwarding. While on my computer, I also opened command prompt and typed in ipconfig because I'll need to type my computer's IP into Moonlight later. Oh my gosh, guys, don't hack me. Speaking of Moonlight, let's turn off my Wii U, take out the SD card, and put it in my PC. With my SD card inserted, I went to Wii U, apps, Moonlight, and opened moonlight.com. Inside here, I typed in my computer's IP where it says IP address. Yes, I know, I'm a genius. And changed this option to false as the gamepad has the same button layout as the Switch. Get back in there. So now if I run Moonlight on my Wii U and click connect, I should see my computer screen on my gamepad. By the way, please make sure to like the video if you haven't already, as it's free and helps out a lot. And it also gives you good luck, so it's a win-win situation.
All right, so let's open Moonlight. Now that we're inside Moonlight and it says that we're connected to my IP, what I'm going to do is click B to pair. All right, anyways, click B to pair.
No.
All right, so we're gonna click B to pair. We're gonna click B to pair. Oh, there we go. There we go. And then what's going to happen is that it's going to give you this pin. So what you want to do is on your computer, reopen Sunshine, and then you got to log in. So hopefully you remembered your username and password. And inside Sunshine, we're going to go to the top left where it says pin and enter what it says on your gamepad. And then once you click send, you can look down on your gamepad and it will say successfully paired. And now that it's paired, if I click A to stream, we should see my computer. Oh my goodness, let's go, it worked. I honestly didn't think it was going to work with how things were going, but now that we have it working, I gotta find out a way to get the controls working.
With that working, it was time to figure out how to control my Switch with the Wii U gamepad.
I'm gonna be real with y'all, this was my third time doing something like this, so I already knew what I had to do, but let's pretend that I just found out how.
So after years of researching, I came across these super unknown applications: X360CE, VGM Bus, VDX, and SysHid Plus. Thank goodness I found these apps, cause I was about to give up. On my Switch running Atmosphere, I opened the Homebrew app store and installed SysHid Plus. We're also going to need my Switch's IP address, so to get that, go to internet settings and look where it says IP address. On my computer, I downloaded the 3 other things I mentioned, as well as SysHid Plus from its GitHub.
So now that we have everything downloaded here, I'm first going to extract the X360CE folder, and then I'm going to extract SysHid Plus, and then I'm going to run the VGM Bus exe so that we can install the driver. And I already have it installed. Sunshine should automatically install VGM Bus, but in one of my other tutorials, when I downloaded Sunshine, it didn't install VGM Bus for some reason, so I had to do it this way. So if you see the same screen as me, that means you already have it and you can just click cancel. But if you see a different screen, just follow the directions on it so that you can make sure it's installed. And what we're going to do is open the X360CE folder. And then inside here, you should see an exe, so we're going to run this. And after we run the exe, it's going to create more files. There we go. And inside this folder, you also want to drag the VGM client and vdx.exe. So inside X360, we're gonna go over to game settings and make sure that VDX shows up. And there's no controller being detected right now, but once we reconnect to Moonlight on our Wii U, the Wii U gamepad is going to show up in here. And when it does show up in here, we're going to open VDX, but we're gonna do that later on. And now we're just going to make sure that SysHid Plus is set up correctly. So we're going to open the SysHid Plus folder, open this folder, and then run the SysHid client beta exe. And inside here, there's no setup required. All you gotta do is type in your Switch's IP address. And the order of what we're going to do is open X360CE, open VDX, connect the gamepad, and then we're gonna open SysHid Plus and then click connect to Switch, and everything should work. With that tomfoolery set up, I docked my Switch, made my OBS preview full screen, and it was time to see if my Wii U gamepad could control my Switch. All right, so I'm going to reopen Moonlight on my Wii U and connect to my computer. It better work. If it magically stops working, I'm gonna be very upset. Okay, there we go, we're connected. And now that we have Moonlight open, we're gonna go back to my computer and open X360CE, and it should detect the gamepad as a controller. So let's wait for that to load, and there we go, it's detected. So now we can just click next, and then we can click finish after it's done. And now that it's detected in X360CE, if I move my left stick, it should move the left stick that we see right here. So let's test this out.
And there we go, it's working. That's awesome. Is the right stick working too? Yes. All right, so now that we know that that's working, what we can do is open vdx.exe, and what it will show is that our player 1 is connected. So now we can click connect on here, and now in X360CE, it will show that we have a new controller connected. So all we have to do is do what we did last time. So just click next, and then after both of these checks show up, just click finish. And now the very last step to be able to use my gamepad to control my Switch is to open SysHid Plus and click connect to Switch. And how we'll know this works is when I click connect to Switch in SysHid Plus, we should see that in the bottom left, a Pro Controller icon pops up because that's what the controller is pretending to be. So I'm going to put this into full screen again. And I know you can't see this, but I'm going to click connect to Switch and hopefully this works. All right, here goes nothing. Connect to Switch. Oh, okay. We see the Pro Controller icon. So now that the Pro Controller icon popped up, if I move something on my gamepad, it should hopefully control my Switch. 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you, Nintendo. Thank you, Nintendo. It works. Let's go. Now that I could control my Switch with my gamepad, I wanted to see what the gameplay would be like. So I hopped into an online Mario Kart 8 Deluxe match. All right, here we go. First race of the day using my Wii U gamepad. What are the odds I get first place on my very first attempt? I don't know. And honestly, this might be my only attempt because this is way too laggy. But you know what? At least the controls are working and at least I'm able to use my gamepad. But I doubt I will ever use this again. You know what though? I have a valid excuse now. I usually don't have a valid excuse and I have to be like, oh, the game is rigged. But look what I'm using, guys. And I took the wrong turn, but it's fine. All right, what place is this star gonna take me into? Probably not a good place, but you know, you never know. Here's what I'm hoping, right? Even though this race isn't looking too well for me right now, I think I might be able to pull off a sneaky first place if on the last lap I just get extremely lucky for some odd reason. So we'll see if I'll be able to pull that off. Don't fall off the edge. That was very close, but we didn't fall off. We're all good. All right, let's go. I was worried that Goomba would hit, not even a Goomba, that Thwomp would hit me, and then I just drove off the edge. Wow, we're in 11th place. All right, you know what? Does that mean you're gonna give me a bullet bill or something now? Or, I mean, we'll see. What's it gonna give me? A golden mushroom? You know what? I'll use it before someone has a lightning, so let's just spam this. Don't fall off the edge. Good. Thank you. Is that thing gonna crush me? Oh, of course it did. It's so rigged. Of course it only fell when I was near it. All right. Guys, I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't look like we're gonna be getting first place this race. This is so hard to control because of the slight delay. And honestly, it's not even like a slight delay, it's the biggest delay ever. And then everything keeps lagging. This is terrible. But there we go, 10th place. All right, here we go. Second race of the day. I'm all warmed up this time, so I'll definitely get first place, trust me. Why does that Yoshi on the left keep jumping? What is he so excited about? Is he excited that I'm gonna lose? I mean win? Yeah, that's what's happening. All right, let's do this. I will power through this laggy controller with the worst input delay ever and somehow get a first place. This is so hard to look at. And I don't know why there's so many frame drops. Like the Wii U is more powerful than a 3DS, so you would expect that Moonlight on here would perform better. But maybe it's just not a good application for the Wii U's hardware or something. I don't know. Or my internet could have gotten worse, but it hasn't been that long. It's only been a month, so I doubt my internet would have just randomly became bad. You know what though? Compared to the last race, we are doing better. We're in 6th place right now and on the 2nd lap. Can we turn that 6th place into a first? Maybe. 3 red shells? I'm gonna use one of them. Save these other 2 until I get another item box near me, and then I'll use the rest of them. Right, there we go. Oh my gosh, I keep going off on the edge. I'm telling you. This input delay is crazy, guys. I don't know what's going on. Blue shell. That could help out a lot, actually. Okay. 4th place right now. 3rd place right now. That's not bad. That's not bad. I'm happy with that. Can I get a first, though? That is the question that everybody wants answered. Oh, not a shell. No, I was actually doing decent. And everyone's passing me. I guess there's a shortcut in the grass over there I just don't know about because I don't know about any shortcuts. Because I'm the world's worst Mario Kart player, then I drove off the edge. All right, well, you know what? I was actually doing decent for a few seconds there, but whatever just happened there is going to completely sell the game. Okay, this could work wonders though. Is this a shortcut? I think that's a shortcut. Okay, you know what? Looks like we will be getting 5th place. I'll take it. It definitely could have been better, but you know what? We'll take what we can get. Is that the saying? I don't even know.
Stepping away from Nintendo consoles, after seeing that Moonlight lets you stream your computer to your Switch, I wanted to try playing PC games on my Switch. And that's why I turned my Nintendo Switch into a Steam Deck.
I'm going to turn my Nintendo Switch into a Steam Deck. What does that even mean? This means I'll be able to play Steam games on my Switch and any other computer games I want to at 60 FPS with no input delay. This was very confusing to do, but I somehow did it. So let me show you how. Starting off, I created a list of everything I was going to need. A modded Switch running Atmosphere custom firmware, SysClick, which allows you to overclock your Switch, and the other Homebrew app, which makes this all possible. Wow, shortest list ever. Because there's no way to get my Switch to run the same OS the Steam Deck uses, the next best option would be to stream my computer to my Switch. Luckily, there's a Homebrew app called Moonlight, which makes this possible. This requires your computer to have an NVIDIA GPU because it utilizes a software called NVIDIA Shield Game Stream, but if you do have an AMD GPU, well, stay tuned. When you open Moonlight, make sure you hold down R while opening a game to launch the Homebrew menu outside of applet mode, or else you won't have enough system resources to use the software. Inside Moonlight, I went to settings and typed in my computer's IP address, which I got by opening command prompt and typing in ipconfig.
Oh my gosh, guys, don't hack me!
After doing that, I opened GeForce Experience on my computer, went to settings, shield, and enabled game stream. Instead of having to add a bunch of games, I added steam.exe as a game, and when I clicked it in Moonlight, it would automatically launch into big picture mode, which let me use my controller. With that all set up, it was time to see if it worked.
All right, so now if I click connect, it should work. Yes, there we go. All right, let's click into Steam. I'm not sure where Fortnite launcher came from. I'm gonna launch Black Ops 3 and we're gonna see how it works. Wow, and I'm in. Well, I guess that's it. I didn't expect it to be this easy.
Well, sadly, it wasn't that easy. Though this hypothetically worked, there was a huge issue that I couldn't avoid. No matter how close I put my Switch to my router or how many settings I changed, there was one thing that made this whole experience terrible: input delay.
Oh my gosh, that's like a 0.5 second delay or something. This is terrible.
Well, it's over. I guess you guys got clickbaited. No Steam Deck today. Just kidding, don't click off. What if I were to tell you that there is a software that functions exactly like NVIDIA Shield, supports Moonlight, works with all GPUs, and has almost no input delay? Well, after some searching around, I found out about Sunshine. Sunshine works by using your computer as a dedicated game server, like how cloud gaming services work, so that you can stream what's on your computer to other devices. Looking at the Sunshine GitHub, I thought this was going to be really confusing to set up, but thankfully the process was actually super easy. After downloading Sunshine EXE, opening it, and clicking proceed to site anyways, hopefully nothing bad happens, I went to configuration, network, and enabled UPnP so I didn't have to set up port forwarding on my own. Now remember the SysClick thing I mentioned at the start of the video? I'm not sure if using it actually reduces input delay, but I swear it does. So I took my SD card out of my Switch, downloaded SysClick from their GitHub, extracted the zip, and dragged these files onto the root of my SD card. Get back in there. After that, I went into the Homebrew menu and opened SysClick. If your Switch is moddable without needing a mod chip, you most likely have a model, and here's a list of the safe maximum overclocks for each component of your Switch. I went to advanced settings and set my temporary overrides to each of these so that my Switch would be overclocked when I had Moonlight open. I then opened Moonlight, re-added my computer, and typed in this pin in the pin section in Sunshine. So now that we know this works, let me tell you what I thought of. Playing Switch games on my Switch, but better. My genius mastermind never done before idea was to run a Switch emulator on my computer and stream that to my Switch. This way I could take advantage of my computer's power to play games at better performance than what the Switch can natively support. To do this, I downloaded Yuzu from their, oh yeah, they got shut down by Nintendo. Well, you can download Ryujinix instead or search somewhere else to find Yuzu. Anyways, I set up Yuzu and bought these Switch games to add to it. I then went to emulation, configure controls, and set any device to function as the Switch Joy-Cons. The game I wanted to test this with was Tears of the Kingdom, as due to the Switch's terrible hardware, the game can only run at 30 FPS and dips below that half of the time. So hopefully with this method and a Yuzu mod I linked in the description, I can play this at a solid 60 FPS with no frame drops. I went into Steam and added Yuzu as a non-Steam game so I could open it when in big picture mode. I then went into Moonlight, connected it to my computer, and it was time. All right guys, here we go. We are now in big picture mode on my Switch and it's time to open Yuzu. Oh wait, why is my controller not working? Now that we're in Yuzu, we're gonna go down to Tears of the Kingdom. Here we go. Now we just wait 10 years for it to load and we're going to test this out. I'm so ready for this. Oh my gosh, we are in. And I don't know if you can see this, but in the very top left, it says we are getting, come on, focus. All right, you just have to take my word for it. It says we're getting 60 FPS. Let's see if that's actually true when we're in game playing though. Oh my gosh. I am playing Tears of the Kingdom on my Switch at 60 FPS. This is so cool. Do you see how smooth this looks? Oh my gosh. And even if it does drop below, like even if I get 50 or even 40 at sometimes, that's still going to be better than the Switch's 30 that it's locked at. And there's no input delay. Look at that. I'm moving around perfectly fine without having to worry about anything. But yeah, this is 60 FPS Tears of the Kingdom.
The next video I made was when the Switch 2 was brand new, so you knew what I had to do. I turned my 3DS into a Nintendo Switch 2. This one is my personal favorite because of how I got the controls to work, so enjoy.
This is my Nintendo Switch 2, but it has a problem. I can play it in handheld mode, I can play it in docked mode, but where's Wii U mode? Like, what if I want to play on 2 screens at once? Sure, I could do this, but I have a better idea. This thing already has 2 screens built into it, so say hello to the Nintendo 3D Switch 2. I'll think of a better name later. But today, I'm going to turn my 3DS into a Switch 2. This will not only allow me to control my Switch 2, but also view 2 screens at the same time. Yes, both screens will show the exact same thing. Yes, I'm using game streaming to make it possible. And yes, this is pointless. But like the video and let's get started. Now, if you've seen my turning this console into another console videos, you know the first step is always the same. Me yapping about a whole lot of nothing, but then mentioning my 2 favorite apps, Moonlight and Sunshine. These apps let me stream my PC to my console of choice. We'll use my Wii U for example. And combining that with my capture card, I can full screen its preview in OBS and suddenly it looks like I'm streaming a console to my Wii U. This only works because my Elgato 4KX capture card has super low preview delay though. You know, I talk about Elgato a lot. I'm just waiting for that sponsorship to come in. So step 1 for making the 3D Switch 2, stream my PC to my 3DS. And let's go, it works! This is totally not the 10th time I've done something like this. Now step 2, normally this is where I install a Homebrew app that lets me connect the Moonlight virtual controller to my Switch. This works perfectly on the Switch 1, but the Switch 2, this thing doesn't have Homebrew support. Yet. Hackers, I believe in you. And without Homebrew, there's basically no way for my 3DS to control the Switch 2, which means this video is a flop. Thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in 2028 when this thing finally gets jailbroken. Okay, I'm obviously not ending the video there, but at this point, I was stuck. How do I control my Switch 2 with a 3DS? The most common non-homebrew method for using third-party controllers is the 8-bit DOE adapter. You connect a Bluetooth controller to it, plug it into your Switch, and it tricks the console into thinking you connected a Pro controller. Pretty cool, right? But the 3DS is definitely not a Bluetooth controller. So if the 8-bit DOE can't save this video, then what can? Well, after days and days of research, eating Yoshis, and digging through the darkest corners of the internet, I found something. A device that can control any console. A device that feels like it was made for this exact video. Say hello to the Titan 2. This device is used for adding macros to your controller, but because it has a port on it to connect to a computer, I might be able to use it to make my 3DS control my Switch 2. There's a slight problem though. Well, actually, kind of a big problem. This thing cost $120, and there's no way I'm spending that much money for a video that probably won't even make $50. Yeah, I bought it. Please like the video so I don't have to sell my 3DS. I'm being serious. Please. Okay, so how does this thing even work? Well, it's actually really cool. You plug your controller into the Titan 2 into your console, and then it acts like a middleman for the two. It can change your inputs or run macros before sending them to your console. But the reason I care about this device is because it can plug into your computer and console at the same time. When it's plugged into your computer, in its software, there's a tool called KMG Capture that detects inputs from your keyboard, mouse, or any controllers connected to your PC. And remember how I said Moonlight makes your 3DS show up as a controller? Well, in KMG Capture, there's my 3DS right there. And now with capturing enabled, on the left, it detects my 3DS's inputs, and on the right, it shows how the Titan 2 will send them to my Switch. This was perfect. My video idea was saved. But then I thought, Nintendo has been cracking down on unauthorized devices plugged into the USB ports to prevent jailbreaking. So would this even work on a Switch 2? Well, there's only one way to find out.
All right, it's the moment of truth. So I have the 3DS set up in G-Tuner, the controls are working, and I also have the OBS preview of the Switch 2 working on my 3DS. So now the final step is, when I plug the Titan 2 into my Switch 2, will it actually work? So I have my Titan 2 on top of the computer right now, and this white wire is the one that I need to plug into my Switch 2. So if this works, my Switch 2 should show that I connected a Pro controller. Here we go. I'm plugging the white cable into my Switch 2. 2. And I'm looking at my Switch 2 screen over here to see if anything pops up. Here we go. Plugging it in now. No, it didn't show anything. Oh no, no, it didn't show anything. I actually thought this was gonna work. So then I'm guessing it's the USB port security or something. Dang. On my 3DS, if I move it, will anything show up? I don't know if that affects it. Yo, it worked. No way, I just had to move something. Oh, I was so nervous there. It cannot troll me like that. I don't know why it didn't show up, but there we go. My 3D Switch is now complete. Oh yeah.
Thank goodness it works. I don't know what I was going to do if it didn't work. But now that the Nintendo 3D Switch 2 is officially working, let's boot up Mario Kart World and see if this is the new best way to play.
And here we are in Mario Kart World on the 3D Switch 2. I lied about coming up with a better name later. But as you can see, the top screen and bottom screen are showing two separate things, right guys? Yep, these are two separate. But anyway, let's just hop into an online race and see how this goes. I'm a little nervous about how this race is going to go. If you didn't notice, I'm actually like not using a pro controller or playing in handheld mode. I'm actually on a... Yeah, so this isn't normal. All right, Lakitu, I'm ready for this. I'm going to win with the 3D Switch 2. All right, guys, here we go. Let's see how playing on the 3D Switch 2 goes. There's obviously going to be input delay, and I'm feeling it right now, but you know, you make 20 of these videos, you kind of get used to it. I'm in 18th place, though. We got to try to at least get top 10. Is that my goal? And oh my goodness, I'm already messing up. Are we serious? Okay, I need to focus up. No more funny business. Not on Boo Cinema. I can't afford to be doing dumb stuff on Boo Cinema because this is such a cool course. I can't be disrespecting it by falling off the edge like that. All right, 19th place. You know what, though? Because I'm so far behind, maybe I'll get some good items. If I can find an item box. Also, this game not being 60 FPS on my 3DS makes this harder. I am streaming at 60 FPS, but I can just tell that it's not. And there we go, Bullet Bill. Okay, where's this going to take me? This should help out. Okay, 11th, 9th. Nice, okay. Moving on to lap 2, and this one only has 3 laps. So you know what? I'm feeling pretty good about this. I should be able to pull off a top 10 if I don't do anything stupid. I didn't drift that time because I messed it up last time and I'm still gonna mess it up again. Are you serious? And Lakitu didn't even teleport me. Him carrying me last time was probably quicker than whatever the heck that was. Goodness gracious, this is so bad. But at least I have a valid excuse. Look what I'm playing on. All right, 3 mushrooms. I guess that's good. All right, the lightning's not that good, but it's okay. All right, let's just try to stop. I was gonna say let's try to not get hit with any more things, and then that hits me. 21st. Can I at least get the double box? Of course I can. Why did I miss it? That's not what we need happening. Moving on to the 3rd lap soon. All right, Bullet Bill should help me again, though. I don't know if it's going to take me back into the top 10 like it did last time, but it should help a bit. Moving on to the 3rd lap, though, I got to make something happen. There's a lot of people near me right now, so maybe a golden mushroom. Another Bullet Bill. Don't mind if I do. Okay, this should definitely get me into the top 10, right? Right? Okay, nice. All right, 9th place. We just got to keep this. Oh, I missed the item box because I was still in the bill. Wow, this is lasting forever. Oh my goodness, that was so long. But now we're in 6th place. Okay, we just got to try to keep this. Got to make sure that I'm careful on all my turns. Don't know where this boomerang came from, but thank you, game. I appreciate it. All right, no funny business, no funny business, no funny business. All right, keep going, keep going. We got... No, that's funny business. I did not need that to happen. Oh, wait. Am I going to get 11th place? What did I get? 13th place. No, that wasn't supposed to happen. I was supposed to win. Oh well, you know what? That could have been worse. I could have got 24th place. I'm actually not too upset about that, but it was still pretty bad. So 3D Switch would recommend if you're bored.
This is my Nintendo Switch 2, and this is my Nintendo Switch. Get out of here, you're making my Switch look bad. But have you ever wondered what it would be like to play Switch 2 games on a downgraded 720p display, worse specs, and less comfortable Joy-Cons?
What?
Yup, me too. And that's why today, I'm going to turn my Nintendo Switch into a Nintendo Switch 2. Will I be able to replicate the newest Switch 2 features on my boring old Switch? And most importantly, be able to play Switch 2 games? Well, there's only one way to find out. So let's get started. Starting off, let's define what turning my Switch into a Switch 2 means. Now, because the Switch 2 can't run Homebrew apps yet, and I don't know how to do hardware modifications, this will be done using Switch 1 Homebrew apps and my computer. So if you were expecting some crazy hardware upgrades to let my Switch play Switch 2 games, feel free to click off, because I don't want anyone to feel misled by the title. But to answer the question, I want to make my Switch feel like a Switch 2. This includes having the Switch 2 home menu, magnetic Joy-Cons, a bigger kickstand, and the ability to play Switch 2 games. So let's get these done in order and slowly watch my Switch transform into a Switch 2. Leave a like and subscribe if you want a free Switch 2. Continue. Because my Switch is running Atmosphere custom firmware, I have an app called NX Themes Installer, which lets me run custom themes on my Switch. With this, I can go to themeser.net, which has a bunch of downloadable themes, and search for a Switch 2 theme. Surely one will exist. Oh, I guess I gotta make one myself. I swear this has happened to me before. To make a theme, I downloaded the theme creator tool from this GitHub and got to work. All right, guys, so I want this theme to look as close to the Switch 2 theme as possible, so I'm going to try my very best. So we're going to start off with that rounded rectangle. So let's just stretch that across. It doesn't take up the whole entire screen, but it takes up a good amount. I'm not sure how low it is. I think a round tier is good though. And this rectangle is a little rounded, so let's round off the edges. I'm not sure how rounded it is, but it's pretty round, so let's go like right here. I think that's good. So there we go. We have step 1 of the Switch 2 theme done. Now I think we're done. Yeah, I think this is perfect. So let's put this in NX Themes Installer. So I'm going to open NX Themes Installer, install my theme, reboot Atmosphere, and now it's the moment of truth. Will my theme work, and what will it look like? All right, moment of truth. Let's see what my Switch 2 theme looks like. Here we go. I just gotta press A 3 times and then we'll see my masterpiece. Oh, okay, so that rectangle is way too low. But you know what? It actually seems like it's a pretty good size. So I think we nailed the width and the length of this rectangle. I just have to move it up a little bit, and I would do that, but you know what? It not looking perfect is what makes my console look special. Now that I created the Switch 2 theme, I was one step closer to turning my Switch into a Nintendo Switch 2. Next on the list is having the Switch 2's magnetic Joy-Cons, and I have the perfect idea for this. I'm not laughing, guys. There's just something in my throat. When I was planning this video, my first idea for making magnetic Joy-Cons was to use double-sided tape on the Joy-Con rails to simulate being magnetic, but that would be cheating. So here's what I did instead. I bought some magnetic tape. The sticky side goes on the Joy-Cons and Joy-Con rails, and the visible sides are magnetic, allowing me to attach my Joy-Cons to the Joy-Con rail. I'm not sure how strong the magnets are though, so let's find out together. Please be strong enough. Okay, guys, which Joy-Con should we try first? Left or right? Comment down below. You guys said left? All right, sounds good. We have the magnet on the Joy-Con rail and the magnet on the Joy-Con itself. So if I put these two together, they should attach. Here we go. Wait a minute, run that back, run that back, run that back. That actually sounds pretty good. It's definitely not as strong or as satisfying as the Switch 2, but it's holding up pretty well. I'm going to try to hold it only using the Joy-Con, but let's put the right one on first. There we go. This looks, okay, we're not gonna talk about how it looks, but it seems like it would be sturdy. So now is the ultimate test. Can I hold up the Switch only holding the Joy-Cons? Here we go. Okay, so with my hands on the back, nothing falls down, but let's just try only... Yeah, no, that is not gonna work. Okay, but there we go, guys. We now have magnetic Joy-Cons on my Nintendo Switch 2. Let's go. All right, so now we have a Switch 2 theme and magnetic Joy-Cons. This is basically already a Switch 2, but there's still a few more things we have to get done. So how am I going to make a bigger kickstand? The kickstand on the Switch 2 looks like this, while the one on the Switch is this tiny little rectangle. And if I'm going to do this without drilling 2 holes in my Switch, I'm not sure how it will be possible, but I think I have an idea. You see this kickstand shaped piece of cardboard over here? What if I just... Perfect. You know what? It kind of works. I just need to make sure I don't bump into the console while using it. But now that that was finished, it was time to implement the very last and most important feature, being able to play Switch 2 games. As I mentioned in the intro, I'm not doing any hardware upgrades to make my Switch be able to play Switch 2 games. I don't think that would be possible anyway. So to add this feature, I'm going to use game streaming instead. On a modded Switch, you can install an app called Moonlight, which allows you to stream your computer to your Switch. If you've watched my videos before, you already know what this app is. But for you new people, here's a quick explanation. Moonlight runs on your Switch, and an app called Sunshine runs on your computer. And these two softwares basically turn your Switch into a PlayStation communication portal, I guess. So not only does your computer stream video to your Switch, but your Switch also turns into a controller for your computer. If you want to know how to set this up for yourself, you can click the video in the top right. Now, all of this is great, but how is it going to let me stream my Switch 2 to my Switch? Well, that's where the next part comes in. Using my capture card, which is an Elgato 4K-X, you'll see why the type is important later. I can display my Switch 2 screen on my computer in OBS. And because the Elgato 4K-X has such low preview delay, the preview window in OBS is almost as fast as if I were looking at the Switch 2 screen directly from an HDMI output. This means I can full screen the preview window in OBS and stream it to my Switch, making it appear as if I were running a Switch 2 game on my Switch. For the controller support, I can't use the built-in Moonlight controller because the Switch 2 doesn't have Homebrew software, but because my Switch 1 Joy-Cons work on the Switch 2, I can just connect them to my Switch 2 after loading Moonlight. But all this yapping is meaningless if it doesn't actually work, so let's see if it does. Wait a minute, I have no idea how this got on my screen, but I really like what it says. I think you guys should consider doing it. So the Switch 2 is docked, so now let's open OBS. You guys can't see my screen right now, so I guess just look at this left Joy-Con and like comment how Joy-Con-ish it looks. Yeah, it's blue. Okay, OBS, can you hurry up and open, please? Okay, there we go, it's open. And now I'm going to switch my screen to Switch, put this into full screen. You still can't see this, but I'm doing it, trust. And now, if I bring my Switch back over here and put my magnetic Joy-Cons on, the most important step, we now have our Switch 2 screen showing on our Switch. Yes, our Switch. But the most important part is if the controls work. So let's see, I'm gonna press B, here we go. And of course they do. So there we go. We now have our Switch 2 being displayed on my Nintendo Switch. Let's go. It worked. And that meant I had everything on my checklist complete. So now I present to you my Walmart budget Temu edition scam Switch 2. Well, there you have it. My Nintendo Switch is now a fully functioning Switch 2.
Hopefully the Switch 2 gets jailbroken so I can turn it into other consoles. But for now, let's just turn the Nintendo Switch into a 3DS. I've turned my Wii U into a Nintendo Switch, my Nintendo Switch into a Switch 2, and my 3DS into a Nintendo Switch. But out of all of these, there's two videos I haven't done. Turning a console into a 3DS and turning a console into a Wii U. And because this is a fan favorite series, we need to check these two videos off the list ASAP. So today, I'm going to turn my Nintendo Switch into a 3DS to see what it's like to play 3DS games on one screen. As the disclaimer said, this is all possible thanks to GameStream. I did use a 3DS emulator directly on my Switch before, but Nintendo took that video down. So we're playing it safe today. Starting off, how on earth does one turn their Switch into a 3DS? Is there some special cable that outputs the 3DS screens to the Switch? Someone could probably make that. Not me though. I'm instead going to output my 3DS displays using two of my favorite apps, Moonlight and Sunshine. Moonlight is an app that lets you view and remotely control your PC, and Sunshine is a software that lets Moonlight access your computer. With these two working together, I'm able to stream my PC to any device that has Moonlight, and luckily, a modded Nintendo Switch does. Now I know what you're thinking, why would I stream my computer if it's my 3DS screen that I need to see? Well, that's because there's no way to directly stream my computer to my Switch, but I can stream it to my computer. This is possible thanks to NTR Viewer, which works with the NTR custom firmware 3DS app. All you have to do is launch the app, and in NTR Viewer, type in your 3DS's IP, and when you click connect, your 3DS will show up on your computer. Click the tutorial in the top right if you want to try this for yourself. So if my computer is showing my 3DS screen and my Switch is showing my computer, do you see where this is headed? No? Okay, I'll explain. That means when I stream my computer to my Switch, it will look like I'm streaming my 3DS to it. So there you have it. I turned my Nintendo Switch into a 3DS. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Hold it. Though my Switch is showing the 3DS, there's a slight issue. My Switch can't control the 3DS. Whenever you use Moonlight, the device running it becomes a virtual controller to control your computer. But in this case, I'm not trying to control my computer. I'm trying to control the 3DS that is being streamed to it. I have a device that lets you get around this by plugging into the console you want to control, but the 3DS doesn't have a USB port, and even if it did, the device wouldn't work. So does this mean I won't be able to control my 3DS? Well, sadly, Yes. Nah, I'm just kidding. I unfortunately can't use the device I spent $100 on. Click the video up here to see me use it. But there is a modded 3DS feature I can use. Input redirection. Input redirection allows you to control your 3DS with external controllers. And remember how I said Moonlight makes the Switch a controller? Well, if I enable input redirection on my 3DS and select the PS4 controller in NTR viewer, I should be able to control my 3DS with my Switch. Now is the moment of truth. Will I be able to control my 3DS from the Switch? So what I'm going to do is move the right thumbstick to the right, and hopefully it makes the 3DS move to the right. So here we go, moment of truth. I really hope this works. 3, 2, 1. Yes! Yes, let's go. It's controlling it. It's controlling it. Oh my gosh, it's actually working. I am controlling the 3DS from my Nintendo Switch, and it's being streamed to the Nintendo Switch. Let's go. Well, there you have it. My video script is saved, and I can control my 3DS with my Switch. But now it's time to see how well a game runs. And here we have Mario Kart 7 loaded up on my Nintendo 3D Switch S. I don't know what to call this console. But guys, I know showing both screens gives me the full 3DS experience, but to be honest, it is way too small on camera. So I have made the executive decision to make it look like this. So rest in peace bottom screen, but this should make it easier for you guys to watch and for me to race. And speaking of race, it's time to get into one. And guys, we're on Pretendo right now playing online, so it's going to be real awkward if nobody joins. I hope there's at least one person on. I know it's like 3 a.m., but come on. Yes! Yo, that is actually a lot of people. Before the race starts, I will say this is definitely the worst input delay that I've had out of all the videos I've done of turning this console into this console, but that makes sense. I'm doing a double stream. I'm streaming the 3DS to my computer and then my computer to a different thing. So I guess across everything, the input delay just keeps getting worse and worse. So here we go, guys. First and only race of the day. Let's see if I can pull off a first place. I mean, it's not a let's see moment. It's a wait until I pull off a first place because I'm going to, okay? Guys, it's gonna happen. I'm a professional. Waluigi Pinball is actually my best course, and that was a little laggy. That's kind of concerning. I hope that doesn't happen again. But with my luck, we're gonna get the world's biggest frame drop when I'm in first place on the last lap, and then it's gonna take me all the way into 8th. I'm prepared for it though, because I know this game hates me, but so far we're actually doing decent. Obviously there is frame drops every second, like I said, but they're not bad enough where it's messing me up. So I am gonna have to use the frame drops as an excuse later on, because that's just expected. But for now, I'm still able to race. Okay, and me crashing into the wall, that was 100% a skill issue. We're not gonna talk about it though, okay? We're doing decent. I don't know where the first place person is. They're doing insane. It's probably one of the 1000 VR people. Guys, VR in Mario Kart 7 is the fakest thing ever. You could have someone with 2 VR and they're still gonna be like a world record holder. All right, we are on the second lap though. We crossed the marker a bit ago, so let's keep going. I can't even see the mini map because I'm only playing on one screen right now, but I'm assuming that whoever's in first place is miles ahead of everybody else. They're probably really good at the game, which isn't good for me. Maybe I can do something with the red shell though. I'm gonna throw these green shells behind me. I didn't mean to throw one of them in front of me, and then we're gonna throw this red shell. Hopefully it hits them. I'm gonna try to see how long it travels to see if I know where they are. I have no idea where it is. Okay, wherever that red shell hit, it was nowhere close to me. It's probably still traveling right now. That's how far ahead they are. We need someone to get a... Oh no, I'm inked. I can't see the ball. Yo, ball, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. Are we good? Okay, I think we're good. What I was gonna say though is we need someone to get a blue shell. I think that's the only way I can catch up to them. And even that, I don't know if it's gonna do enough. They're so far ahead. And now we're moving on to the last lap. I still don't see them. But you know what? Second place isn't that bad. And I mean, if I can hold it out until the end of the race. I don't trust myself. I always do something stupid at the end. Like this? What, like, why are we driving into the wall for no reason, Yoshi? That was Yoshi's fault, by the way, not a skill issue. It's never a skill issue. Yeah, it might be over. I'm just gonna... Oh, thank goodness there's a barrier right there. If there wasn't an invisible barrier, I was cooked, and they're passing me. I swear I just saw the first place person's name for a sec, though. That means it might still be winnable. We've got to be kind of close to... Oh, no. Oh, no, I can't be bumping around like that. I'm in third now. No, come on, at least second. I knew I was gonna sell at the very last second. Come on. I don't know if I can catch up to them in time. The end of the race is up there. Maybe one of these will hit them in time. Please, one of them hit them in time. Please. I don't know if that was fast enough. I don't know. No, it was not fast enough. Dang. Looks like we got 3rd place on the Nintendo 3D Switch S one screen edition. You know what? If I'm being honest, that was totally playable. Optimal? No. But there was nothing that happened that put me at a huge disadvantage that I couldn't play the race anymore. So I would say this actually went pretty well. I'm impressed with NTR viewer. We all know that Moonlight is awesome, of course. I have 4,000 VR. I'm a fraud. These people are at like nearly 100,000 though. They're probably cheating. I don't know what's going on with them, but that was fun. I hope you enjoyed watching me turn my Nintendo Switch into a 3DS. And if you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more modding content. The series finale awaits.